Now this has to be another one of my highlights from this great show, an Alvis 1250 4-seat Tourer. Very tasteful looking Austin Healey rolling past now. Today on Car Attraction, you join us at the site of the 2023 Weaver Wonder. Basically, a very nice little classic car road run which sees all sorts of lovely cars like these 4 classic Triumph Stags amassing in this very nice setting of a field here, and eventually we will be going later in the morning on a fantastic little road run, and we'll also be seeing all these lovely cars leaving this meet. And there certainly is going to be a lot here today, over 100 cars planned here, all sorts of vintage cars, hopefully a few pre-war cars, lots of sort of 70s sports cars, classics, a few modern sports cars as well. There really is such a great eclectic mix at this event. We also did a video of it last year in a different location, but today we're in the very nice setting of the Crew Vagrants field. Yet another stag and another white stag. Wow, they're in. Well, there's a whole Triumph section over there as well. There's a great representation of classic Triumphs here, a Porsche Boxster Roadster. This is the sort of more modern sports car. We'll be seeing a few of those here today. An MGTF, an MGC this one is, with some very tasty looking mini light wheels, the lighter bonnet of course, to accommodate the larger 3-litre straight 6 engine. Here's a Triumph 2000 Saloon and another Triumph 2000 Saloon. Both of these are Mark II examples, one in green and an immaculate car in white with the black roof. Both examples of really usable old classic cars. Both have a lovely old straight 6 up front, the 2-litre engine, really nice engine. And yeah, it's a very nice car. More Triumph goodness. There's certainly a bit of a section going on here in the form of the Spitfire 1500, the last of all the Spitfires. See a lot of these cars everywhere, but there actually are quite a few new cars on the scene today we haven't seen before, such as this Triumph TR7 V8 rally car. Another couple of Stags there looking very nice in the sun. A Triumph TR4 road rally car. Triumph TR6 in green. Yet another Triumph TR4 over here in red. Very sort of quintessential British sports car. A lot of these are in red, as you can see, in another pair of TR6s at the back. Certainly a few Triumph TRs here today. And what promises to be a very good classic car meet and road run. Yet another fantastic Triumph TR4 parked over in this little corner here. So many classic Triumphs. Another Spitfire 1500, this time in white, next to another E-Type hardtop. Another Series 1 car, very, very lovely. Stunning design really, isn't it? This is just a simple 4 on the floor gearbox in this one. Quite an early car. Very, very lovely. Beyond that is an XJR Jaguar, an X350, a Capri 3-litre Ghia. Very much the car you promised yourself. See what I did there? That was the marketing slogan, the car you promised yourself for the Capris. There's also a Mazda RX-3 here. Very nice car there. Really like that. Very rare as well. It's the only one on the scene. There's the Capri. Mustang over here. Beyond that, something a bit more classic, an MGB Roadster, looking very shiny with the chrome wires. Very lovely example there. And beyond that is an Ado 16 Morris. I believe this is an 1100. It could be a 1300, but I think I saw this one coming in earlier, and it is an 1100 car. An example of a car very, very common in its day, but now you don't actually see them that often, and especially ones in this good condition. It's immaculate, this car. Really nice to see that. Big old Ford here, very nice boxy saloon in the form of this Granada. An E30 BMW. And an AC 427 Cobra replica here. Sounded very muscular and butch on the way in. Very much like that. A Cortina GT gets to a lot of car meets around us as next K rolls past. Let's get another nice sports saloon. Ooh, that's an interesting little car. I'm not sure what that is. That definitely deserves a bit of further inspection. Here's the front of the Cortina as an alarm goes off in the background. I believe with the grills like this is known as an airflow car, as some of the slightly earlier ones would have had the grill just chopping off there. Very lovely example. Another Mustang beyond that, another Z4. Very lovely XKR in sort of fiery red, supercharged V8 up front. A Saab Cabriolet, very much getting rarer now. Stunning old MG Tourer. This might be a TA, TB or TC, I'm not sure of the differences of these, I'm afraid, and apologies to the owner if he's watching this. But if you do see yourself in one of these videos or have anything to say about any of these old cars, please do comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. There's another pre-war MG, very much like these old Tourers. Very lovely little car. Yeah, what a little beauty. Big old 5 Series BMW. I've seen this one at the likes of the Crew Heritage Centre. It is absolutely immaculate. I believe it's daily drived, this car. But I mean, red is a hard colour to keep looking shiny, and that is a very shiny red 5 Series. So yeah, hats off to the owner for keeping it like that, because that is not easy. A Z3 based replica of an Aston Martin DB4 Zagato. I think it's Z3. I'm still not quite sold though. MGTD over there. That's probably a post-war Tourer. Another very shiny NC Mark III MX-5 and a Beaufort Tourer on the end. Just over here is a very lovely Ford Model A Tourer. Really like this. Epitomise some of these big old American pre-war cars. Might be used in a bit of competition. This car, I'm seeing all sorts of like modern timing gear around and all sorts, but very, very lovely nonetheless. I can see myself in a Model A of some description, perhaps in a few years' time. But yeah, I really like them. A very strong engine, big old 4-cylinder, loads of parts. So really one of the most easy pre-war cars to own. On par with the Austin 7, really. There are lots of parts around, as I just said. They're absolutely massive and stunning old Ford. This is an Edsel. Oh, it sure is. Really, really spectacular car. A bit of a marketing flop, dare I say, in the time, but I think these are absolutely stunning. Look how far back it goes. I actually think not a lot of people like these in period, but I think they're actually a stunning old car. Absolutely immaculate. Really lovely looking car though. And some more MG Tourers. There's always a good showing of MGs, but maybe not as many Tourers like this pre-war Tourer and the slightly just post-war Tourer. So many of them here today, and it's great to see them. Some of my favourite old vintage cars. Oh, here's a very lovely old Jaguar Mark II in immaculate condition. This is a 3.8 car, the largest of all the straight sixes. Absolutely stunning, that. Another Triumph TR4, very nice bit of a road rally treatment, nice hard top, and painted wise make it look nice and sporty. An NC MX-5, a very new Z4, that's the newest of all the generations. A Mach 1 convertible, never seen one of those before. Z4, so many new cars on the scene. Another absolutely beautiful old E-Type. A couple more modern classics over there, the likes of MX-5s and all sorts. Little Mini on the end. Very smart looking Austin Healey Sprite in white here. This is a square arch model, one of the slightly earlier. Actually, it's probably about the middle of production, actually, the variant. Once again, a great example of a cheap old classic sports car. Very easy to own, lots of parts. On par with the MGB, really. Next to that, another pre-war MG Tourer. Very lovely cars, these. Really love the styles of dash in these as well. Very, very lovely old car, that. A Triumph Dolomite 1500 here. Another great old usable classic from the 70s. Very common in its day, but now quite a few of them have sadly sort of rotted away or just been just left to rust, but actually it's nice to see sort of time warp, perhaps older restoration or original cars like this, because this is how they would have been in the day. It's very nice to see one here. The period mods, a couple of nice little Lucas spot lamps as well. Beyond that, it's a Ford Anglia Super. This is the 105E shape. Very stylish little 50s car. Very iconic design. The back window as well. Really like that. Very lovely example. Once again, perhaps an older restoration there. Anglia Super, one of the top of the range models, I believe. And here's a Scirocco, a Beetle Cabriolet XK. The Scirocco is absolutely immaculate. Over here on the end is a very cool and very rare Mazda RX-3, one of the first rotary engine cars. A bit of a road rally treatment on here. Very cool. Really like this example. And certainly one of the rarest cars here today. Nice course pinstripe down the side as well. I do rate pinstripes, I think they look very nice on cars of this era. A TVR Chimera, a Porsche 911 and an XK. And here is a very interesting little car. Now the name of this is the Triumph Formosa 120, and after a little look at the information board, at one point in its life this was a Triumph Herald Coupe, but it was bought as a sort of, sounds like a bit of a restoration project or something like that, and once it had been all done underneath, they decided to put a very nice looking 50s style body on it. And I must say, it's a beautiful job what's been done here. It looks just like a Maserati 300S or that type of car. And it's also had the Triumph 2-litre straight 6 swapped into it, so it'll certainly sound the part. Lovely twin exhaust, there'll be a very nice sound coming out of those. I'm looking forward to seeing that leaving. There's also very lovely big wires. Those were off an Austin Healey 3000, this particular car. Still all Triumph gauges, I believe, but there's been a lot of work into this car. And I really like that, it's very nice. And from 948cc to 2-litre straight 6, it's quite a upgrade, isn't it? Also the little fairing behind the driver, it's a very nice car this. I know some people might call it a replica, but no, it was done more or less in period. Well, it's certainly done a while ago, and yeah, it's a very beautiful job what's been done there. It's hard to think that was once a Herald, isn't it? But that is one of the highlights for me. Very lovely car, that. Another Triumph Stag. It looks like they got a bit of a section down there. Certainly a lot of them here today. Another very common attendee of all the little shows we go to is this Alfa Romeo 2000 from the 70s in a very nice sort of, I don't want to call it beige, but I'm not quite sure what that colour is, but it certainly suits this old 70s saloon, doesn't it? Very lovely, 4-cylinder up front, absolutely gorgeous engine, really like these. I always say when I see this car or cars of this type, just look at that interior, so lovely inside. Another little pre-war gem over here, pre-war Austin, 2-seat tourer with the dicky seat in the back, so overall grand total of 3 seats. Very lovely little car, this one. Very characterful, far more characterful than the likes of any modern car, really, isn't it? Very simple design, but looks very cute. A chrome flat rad, but a slightly bigger variant than the little Austin 7 that most people will associate this with. Lovely example. We've got a Lotus Exige here in tennis ball green. Very vibrant, it certainly stands out. Proper driver's car here. An M6 Tourer, an XK, something modern SUV, another red Mark III MX-5, another XK. Seeing lots of those here, little mini cabriolet, It's a very lovely Triumph TR5 over here. We've seen many TR4s and 4As, but those all have 4 cylinders. This has the injected, I believe, straight 6 in it. Very lovely engine. The likes of this engine went on into the TR6 as a 2.5 unit. An MGB GT just beyond that with Ross style wheels. This is a honeycomb grille, so probably early 70s if I had to guess the age of this car. Very lovely, and beyond that is another Mark 1 Cortina. Lots of those here today, and a little mini Morris Cooper on the end. Well, we've even expanded into a sort of third area, starting off with this stunning old Sunbeam Tiger. Saw this one recently at Combermere. Lovely car, that's a Porsche and another Porsche. And this is just lovely, isn't it? Take one look at this MGA fixed head coupe. How lovely is this? This is one of my favourites, and I've only just started looking at it. Nice basket on the back. Looks gorgeous in that baby blue with black wires, and I think that sets it off absolutely beautifully, doesn't it? Really suits this sort of car. Makes it look like a real racing car. Absolutely gorgeous colour scheme on this one. It's only a 1600, but it does look like a period racing car in this livery. Really like the look of that. Very nicely modified. One of my favourites there, Aston Martin DB9, an E-Type Roadster, the first Roadster we've seen here today actually. MGF, was that a TF? Oh, I can't remember the difference, apologies. Another new Z4 and a bright yellow MX-5, quite a bit different to ours. Probably the only similarity is it's an MX-5 and it's yellow, because this one's had quite a lot of modifications done to it. This is a UNOS Roadster actually, that's the main difference, as ours is an original UK market Mazda MX-5. So this is called the UNOS Roadster, basically the same car, but it just means they're made for different markets. So I believe this car would have been imported at some point in its life. Very lovely MGB GT, quite an early car this one with the sprung steering wheel. So it's F-Reg, I don't know my registrations quite as well as Dad, so I can't tell you what year it is. I believe the GT came into production about 65 and 66, and I'd say this is one of the quite early cars. It's not quite the earliest, because the earliest ones, if I get my shadow out of the way, it's a very sunny morning, the earliest ones would have not had the reverse lights at the back, but this one does have the reverse lights at the back. But it's still quite an early car with the early interior, unless that's maybe been swapped, but I still think it's an early car, so it must be like a sort of first of the sort of slightly later generation of cars, but it's still got the earlier style of steering wheel and dash in there. And it's a very lovely presented car, this one. On the end here is a yellow Triumph Stag, should be with the other ones really. Another TR, but this is a TR3 here, and this is the first of all the TR3s here today. Another 2CV. AMG GT Mercedes, something a bit more modern, and another Jaguar XK. Now this has to be another one of my highlights from this great show, an Alvis 1250 4-seat Tourer. This is an absolutely stunning vintage car. Really my sort of thing, this big 4-cylinder, but some of these might have had a 6-cylinder actually. So yeah, just ignore me on that, but still, just look at that. That looks fantastic, doesn't it? 4-seat Tourer, very practical body, you can bring all your friends, and also a great example of a VSCC eligible car. Quite a few parts around for these, I believe, because you do see a lot of the likes of 1250s at VSCC events, so yeah, a great way to get into sort of vintage motorsports, or just driving on the road. It's still just a fantastic old car. Very much like that. Should have the roof down really, shouldn't it? Triumph Dolomite Sprint. So the uprated, tuned up 70s saloon here. Very purposeful little car, I do like that. Nice and blue as well, isn't it? A Mini with many lights on the front. Quite a tasty looking 911 here. Bit of a resto mod treatment here of some description. Sometimes you can see on the back if it's like a company that's done it. Now it doesn't seem to, so it might have just been a very dedicated enthusiast, or it's interesting. This has had a lot of mods done to it. A very nice example. It's Gulf-esque colours really, isn't it? Very nice. Another few Porsches here. Morgan, as always. Plenty Morgans at the likes of these classic car road runs and car meets. Now what is this? A Nissan... Well, it's a Nissan Z car. Is it Z300ZX? Something of that. Let's have a look at the back. Oh, that's helpful. Oh, there we are. 300ZX. So this is one of the earliest sort of iterations of the 300ZX. Very, extremely rare car now. Automatic gearbox in this one. Wow, it revs to 8,000. You won't be able to see it, but yeah, that's where the red line is. It's a very interesting car. I certainly don't see those very often. Another TVR. This one's a Griffith. And a very nice MGB on the end. This has a lovely hardtop on it. I can't quite remember the actual manufacturer of this hardtop. Apologies if I'm saying anything wrong. Do let me know in the comments. Always learning at these places, but hopefully I know just about enough to make an interesting video. But yes, very lovely hardtop on this car. One way to sort of make your MGB stand out from all the rest of them, because there are a lot of MGBs around on the classic car scene. Beyond the 1300 Beetle, we've got something else that's pre-war, perhaps a Morris. Let's have a look around the front to see exactly. Oh, it's an Austin, apologies. This is the ruby shape of Austin, the Austin 7. So earlier we saw an Austin 10, but the Austin 7 also would have had the chrome rad, flat rad, but the Austin Ruby, like this, had the sort of painted radiator, as we can see here. Very nice domed, king of the road Lucas lamps. Very practical old car, these. Not very fast, admittedly, but certainly fit 4 people in there. Might take away a bit of performance, but you don't really need to be rushing, do you, in something like this? Just go into a field to show off your pride and joy, like all these owners are here today. Another Unos. Another MGB, modern Honda, a Triumph Spitfire in yellow. These look great in yellow, don't they? That's another 1500 immaculate car, and another Stag. So many of these here today. And another Sprigget. Now this is an MG car, so it's known as the MG Midget, not the Austin Healey Sprite, but you can call both of them the Sprigget, a bit of both, because they are basically the same car underneath, really. This is one of the main competitors with the likes of the Triumph Spitfire 1500 just over there. One of the later variants of this car. In this corner is an absolutely immaculate Austin Maestro. This is in lovely condition, isn't it? Very nice colour and spec on this car. One of the first British Leyland cars we've seen here today, I think. That is very nicely done, isn't it? It's immaculate, isn't it? Very interesting spot there. Z3. This is a 2.2, so still a straight 6 car. You had the 1.8, which was the 4-cylinder car, and then I think from about 2 litres upwards, or 2.2 perhaps, they become a straight 6. We used to have a 2.8, very fun car, and then there's also the Z3M, which is a lot more desirable and expensive, sadly, than all the other likes of the Z3s, which had the 3.2 straight 6 out of the M3 E36, but still, even with a 2.2 litre car, still plenty of horsepower. It's probably, it's going to, what are we talking, 250 horsepower? I don't quite know, but certainly enough. Triumph TR4A looking very nice on the steel wheels. I saw another one of these on steel wheels at the Combermere car meet, and they look far nicer in my opinion on these steel wheels. I would think the steel wheels and the hubcap really do suit them. And this is a very lovely car, quite an early one if I had to guess. It's got the earliest style of steering wheel and still the standard interior, lovely interior in these. That's a very nice old car there. Another Morgan, as I said, always a few of these here. An MGB Roadster. That's yet another Boxster. Backs into another parking spot. We've got a big V8 Bentley. That's massive, isn't it? Compared to the Elise in the orangey yellow. And a Boxster just over here. Very tasteful looking Austin Healey rolling past now. Very purposeful old car there. Also debumpered, 3 litre straight 6 in there, very lovely car. Side pipes as well on that one. Very much my sort of thing. Another regular to all kinds of meets is an MG TA Tourer, basically this car here. Stunning old pre-war car. See that many times. I love seeing it because it's a great old car. First other classics are on their way on the run. The Sunbeam Talbot Tourer is the first one out. Gorgeous little car that. And off they go on their run around Cheshire.
Cheers.
Well, this Stag in Brown is one of the last cars to be trundling out on the way onto the Weaver Wonder of 2023 around Cheshire. There's been so much that's actually started back up a bit, but I think we're going to have to wrap up this video here. The scenes at the Crew Vagrant Sports Club are certainly quite different now, and well, there's a lot plainer. But if you enjoyed this, please do check out last year's event, and they're also on the channel homepage. You can find all sorts of classic car videos, classic car shows, meets, all sorts of stuff like that. That's what Car Traction is about, so please do remember to comment below, subscribe, it really does help, and I think that's just about it. Thanks for watching.